Morning once again, and welcome back to K24 this morning. And this being a Tuesday, we still continue the tradition of talking about your money. And today I want us to focus on business trends to look for in 2020. A lot happened in 2019 as far as people losing their jobs is concerned, people shutting their businesses is concerned. So how do we move forward in this particular year? Of course, new opportunities have definitely sprung up. It just depends on where exactly you're going to be looking for that particular opportunity. And that is why I am joined by Abraham Mudoga, who is a seasoned economist. And of course, I think now you should just become one of us. You kwa payroll ama ikuwe namna gani?
I will not mind that.
Karibu tena sana, and of course another resident panelist. Yes. Frida from Passion Profit.
Yes, sir.
Frida Awinga it is, right?
From Passion Profit /K24.
Okay, yes. All right. Hey, mshaanza kujipatia kazi. Ni sawa sawa. Bora pia kwa payroll mujiweke na mu make sure pesa imeanza kuingia.
2020 business trends.
Yes.
G-Pox.
Fantastico. And we have a brand new, but not necessarily brand new. Apparently you've been here before, Mr. Houston Mulande.
Yeah.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm good. Happy
You're an
to be
entrepreneur,
here.
yep.
Yeah. Actually, last time I was here, some random report had to come on air immediately. So we waited for like 2 hours and then we were just told, sorry guys.
Really?
So I've been to your gallery, but not.
You've never gone on air?
No, not here.
Usijali. Sasa juu story utaongezewa kahawa. Gladys, muongeze kahawa. Utaongezewa kahawa. Do you compensate your last time?
No worries.
Okay, welcome to the show, guys. So let's get straight into the matter. 2019 rather was a very tough year for a lot of people. You even told me yourself, Houston, that 2020 for you had to let go of a huge chunk of your stuff. 20, if I'm not wrong. What happened?
Well, it was a tough economic year. And it had been that way really for several years, but we were cushioned by a major client that we had. And some changes happened in the organization. So a contract that we were depending on for a significant part of our workforce was terminated. So that came with the painful necessity to ask people to find other places. So yes, so I'm painfully aware of how I think we were lucky. We were mostly cushioned from the effects of what everyone else was experiencing. But it didn't last very long. And so now
are you back on your feet?
Empathize.
As a company, that is?
I guess we never faltered in the sense that there's a core team that's willing to be there regardless of the financial status of the company.
Right.
So we basically reassigned other people to different companies, called in, asked people to hire them.
So you helped them transition.
Yeah, literally almost everyone that lost a job found a job just by us reaching out to other connections, which I'm very happy about. So it's still not ideal where we are at, but the team is stronger for it because when such times come, you're left with the kind of people that are there not because of the money, but because of what you're collectively building together.
For the passion, as we like to call it. Passion, profit. I'm assuming that is what all of you guys, your organization at least, stands for. A lot of those guys, I mean, at least for his employees, they were lucky enough. They had a boss who had connections and they tried integrating them and reabsorbing them into other places. But not everyone is that lucky. A lot of guys, had to be laid off. Different companies. Actually, as of this morning, Samia is going to let go of some of their, staff. Where are these people going to go?
Wow. Thanks, Mbuvi, for having me here again.
Karibu sana.
And from what he was saying, he said that they didn't falter, and when you hear his story and all other stories that we hear, there's one common factor in all of them: people. So I've come to understand that all situations are going to be either hard or easy. Heads and tail is a way of life. There are days when it's a heads kind of life. There are days when there are tail kinds of life. But we have to keep forging on. And what really helps us is he said they had a cushion of a client, and sometimes that cushion could be your family, and sometimes that cushion could be your friend. So I think it's very important as we go through life now more than ever to work on our relationships, to work on our social currency.
Right.
Not just so that, like what you like saying, hey, you guy, I need 10K.
You guys, come here for me, I can lose 10 G's.
Yeah, you must have that guy and that girl,
Yeah.
you know, that you can rely on and that can also rely on you.
Okay.
We need to become more of keepers for ourselves because it's going to get harder before it gets easier.
Definitely.
Because the truth about it is that life is changing. There's expansion. And by that, I mean that there are new trends coming in. And every time something new is coming, it's like a pregnant woman having a baby.
Okay.
All right? Your body is going to change. You know, things are going to change around you for a year or two before they get back into normal. But we are so afraid of the change. And sometimes we're also, not sometimes, but many times we're reluctant of it because our mind keeps telling us, we've not been this way before, there's nobody to benchmark with, you know, stop, 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 stop. But I think the bigger thing is if we start resetting our minds or shifting our mindsets and beginning to acknowledge that, okay, this is the way things are, I don't know when it's going to change, what are some things that I need to do? For me, it has been that I really need to cultivate relationships with my family. I need to create an intentional network, a little bit like what Bobby Collymore did.
Yeah.
Not that I have
Boys
that
club.
but yes, I have my boys and girls club.
Yes.
Because we need gender equality.
All right. Well, hey, I knew that
You
was
need
going to be.
both.
I knew that was going to be thrown somewhere in there.
I have to.
Yeah, Mr. Abraham, guys need to know, economically speaking, from an economist point of view, is starting. These businesses are being shut down. Some are being downsized because of what we've had. Things are not necessarily looking good in the country. Is it viable for me to even now start thinking of starting what is it called, a business? Or should I now start looking for employment? Because again, which employment am I looking for? Because guys are still getting fired in 2020.
You see, the downsizing of the economy in general comes from one fundamental factor, when there is decreased demand.
Decreased demand?
Yes.
Okay.
Decreased demand comes from when incomes are either stagnating or real incomes are falling. In this case, our real income is falling because by real income, I mean your income when you factor in inflation.
Yeah.
Now, even if you look at the Great Depression back then, when the UK was going through the Great Depression, there was an economist by the name Keynes, Lord Keynes.
Yeah.
And what he advised the government then, the Prime Minister was Winston Churchill at that time,
Yeah.
that the only way to jumpstart this economy is to create demand. And how do you create demand? We get people to dig holes in the morning,
Yes.
pay them, and they bury them in the evening. And we pay them. When they have money in their pockets, they'll want to buy something. When you want to buy something, somebody has to produce it. When somebody starts producing it, they start creating jobs, and that spiral. And that's how they got out of it. If you read your history books, that's how it went.
Okay.
And actually, it created a whole branch of economics called Keynesian economics, demand-driven economics. Even here, it is still not late to do that. For us to jumpstart this economy, we have to address why the incomes are falling. And if you look at some of the strategies the government is trying to put in, like there's a big agricultural policy they're trying to put in, where they're trying to see, since 80% of our economy is agri-based, what can we do to increase the household income at the agricultural level? Because if we increase household income,
Yes.
then all these things take care of themselves. Because companies are closing because people are not buying their products.
Okay.
Because they're not buying their products, we don't need so many of this, as many people to produce them, some go home. But if the opposite happened, then people start, because we will need more and more. Some businesses also are reaching a point where, like now, if you look at the telecoms, they're saying now it has reached a saturation. Anybody who needs a SIM card has a SIM card. In fact, people have more than one
People
SIM
have
card.
more, yeah. Like I know I have
So
four.
it means for you to eat something, you have to eat somebody else's lunch.
Okay.
That's what it is now. So in a nutshell, what I'm saying, the problem we are facing is a question of lack of demand due to low income. And that is what we need to address.
Okay.
All these other things we are seeing are symptoms.
All right. Now that we've laid the foundation and the base for the conversation, probably I'll even ask the audience to rope into this particular conversation. And the question is a very simple one. What business trends have you seen that are going to work for you in 2020? What business trends have you seen in 2020 that actually make sense? Is it that boutique? Is it a butchery? Is it Skuma Wiki business? Is it transport? Please let us know through our social media handles. That is at K24 TV across Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can call us on the numbers on your screen, and also let us know via SMS 21222 what you think the business trends of 2020 are so far. Mr. Houston, you said earlier on when we were at the reception, you said that you wouldn't encourage anyone to start a business.
Yep.
Yet you're a businessman yourself. Why are you being selfish?
You know, someone who has been to hell and back can warn you not to walk that path. Because very few people walk through those fires and make it. I think it's sad that the entrepreneurship narrative has been used as a scapegoat in our country to escape the responsibility of the fact that the way society has always been structured is that, I don't know who said it, but that our children don't inherit the world from us. We are borrowing it from them.
That's true.
Which means we are only stewards right now of the next generation. So if you hear many of the people that are in our parents' age group saying, it's not our responsibility to create jobs, you become an entrepreneur, I have never had a more irresponsible statement from seemingly mature people.
Fafanua.
We all don't get to choose where we are born, the kind of brains we receive. There's so many things that we don't choose. However, when you are in a position, say, for example, as a parent, you don't tell your child, okay, it's not my job to feed you. It's not my job to educate you.
To clothe
you
you.
hustle. In fact, many of the parents who experienced a difficult life when they were growing up, who went to school without shoes, who, school was 10 kilometers away, are the same guys that are paying 25,000 per term for transport only, so that their kid can actually get to school faster. So there are those who appreciate the fact that you want your children to stand on the shoulders of giants and to achieve bigger things than yourselves. You don't take them back to square one and say, because I went through a very difficult experience, which is how some professional fields even operate, like law is a case in point. It's almost like for you to be a successful lawyer, you have to go through the exact same struggle that every successful lawyer has ever gone through. You never stand on the shoulders of those who've already made it. That's really sad. So young people, instead of, you have to be responsible for yourself, but we also have to acknowledge the fact that you cannot entrepreneur your way out of government's failures or economic blunders that are being done at a national stage. And you are so far beneath how the games are being played that you don't get to understand that they are actually affecting you directly.
So you believe in today's economy, an entrepreneur is basically set up to fail?
It's not a belief. It's statistically a fact that 95% of new ventures fail.
Hold on that thought. Frida, do you agree with that statement?
I believe, and that's why I live, to change that statement. My big thing is that statement needs to change in my lifetime, or I need to set up a structure in my lifetime that will change that statement, because it's ridiculous. We all, on the other side of that coin, we hear that the SMEs are the backbone of this nation. And then you go and look at the policies that this nation has and see how the SME is treated, then you're like, what is going on? So for that reason, we have an association called SME Founders Association that is, because we've talked a lot on Twitter, we've talked a lot on Facebook, Omba Serikali and all that, but there's so many of us. So our role is to bring us together so that we are one collective voice with appropriate representation where it matters, so that we can start speaking to the people that can make these changes. Are we really the backbone? Then we need to stand up straight and start erecting changes. And unless we do it, nobody will. And I like what he says that I'm those people that you're talking about, the parents
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah,
you
the ones
know,
who pay
that-
25 Gs for
that-
transport.
No,
peke
I
yake.
don't pay 25 Gs anymore. My children have finished school. I'm almost paying for my granddaughter, but
Okay.
akona baba yake wanajipanga. But on a serious note is, I've listened to that long enough, and as a consultant for the last 10 years in this country, and I've been a consultant in the US for over 10 years also, and I see the differences, and I'm like, if we are really, in the US, they say small business is the backbone, but they have small business authority, they have access to information, they have access to experts, they have access to funding. So we've come together and said that, why can't we do it here? It just takes one person starting. Last year, we got together with 10 trainers,
Yeah.
and then we trained 50 people. And the idea was, we're not going to wait for funding. We have some money in our pockets. What does it take to train 50 people? Where is the location we can do this? What do these entrepreneurs need? And we launched a program based on ILO methodology to help people generate bankable ideas. A bankable idea is an idea we scan the environment to see what are the businesses that are going
Just
to
hold
thrive.
there because I have a Joshua from Kirinyaga on the line.
Okay.
Joshua, good morning.
Buhi, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too, my brother. Siku mingi bana sijakuona na sijakusikia.
Sina neno mwanangu, mimi namshukuru Mungu.
Okay.
Allow me to contribute to the topic of the day.
Please do.
Buhi, when I see people at times trying to encourage people to invest in times like this,
Yes.
I find it a huge disservice, because you realize that when you see huge corporates and companies shutting down, then it informs the fact that the situations or the circumstances making these huge players close down
Yeah.
will still play out when you run your small kiosk or your small businesses.
Yes.
And like the gentleman, one of our panelists has said, is that chances are, if you try to open any new business in the current economic situation,
Yes.
they will collapse. Now, there's something I've noticed, Mbuvi. I'm partly into transport business.
Yes.
And it's an appeal, really. I took a trip last week to Mombasa, and I was actually astonished to realize that you have to brave your way all the way from Nyandarua to Mombasa, okay?
Okay.
Now, I have worked for 4 companies, all of which have actually laid off and restructured.
Yes.
And allow me to thank God, because when I got the news yesterday about Samia, I had gotten an offer at Samia, but I decided to decline, because after assessing that last year,
Yeah.
I realized that this company was certainly going to restructure. So I will say this.
Yeah.
The only venture that you can get into in a situation like the one we are having in Kenya, whereby things are not working, the economic atmosphere is not favorable,
Yeah.
the government is not doing anything, you can only be a conman or join politics. The only business that thrives in a desperate situation is a business or a venture that sells hope, and
Yeah.
that is only in conmanship or
Yeah.
evangelism. Thank you very much, Mbuvi, and have a good day.
Thank you very much. Where? He has said that it's either you become an evangelist, a conman, or a politician
Okay,
for you to survive in this
3
country.
narrow roads.
We shall respond to him in a minute, but you were saying that the systems have been set.
Yeah.
You're trying to set up the systems.
Yeah, because the thing is, if it's not working, it doesn't mean it will never ever work. And indeed, the things are thick, but it's not all thick. There are some things that are working. So we must learn to find out what is working and how can we work it.
Okay.
Like the program, there's a lot of business development support organizations in the country that are doing great work. But why is this statistic not changing? That is what makes me angry, Mbuvi.
Yeah.
So I said, I want to be part of a business development support system that can be pointed to and said that because of this woman, because of this company, because of these trainers that she collaborated with, we
Yeah.
are still here.
Okay.
So we went out to look for a methodology that is proven, that is trusted, so that we can measure
Yes.
who is coming in and what we are doing with them. And this
Okay.
methodology is by International Labour Organization, the authentic organization for creating programs that
Okay.
will help us create decent work,
Okay.
sustainable work, which is SDG number what? SDG number 8, I think. Yeah, you know, because for us, the big thing is how can we create jobs?
Okay.
Jobs are changing, Bovi. These people that are restructuring, they started these businesses so that they can make money. But the world is changing on them. They're not letting people go happy somewhere in the boardroom, tunachuja huyu. They're also trying to survive.
All right.
But the people that are suffering is that person who still has the mindset that I have papers, I need to get a salary after every 30 days.
Yes.
Why can't you restructure your life and find out what gigs can you do?
But
and
isn't that where we go to the university or college or whatever?
We go to the university to get knowledge. When we come out of the university, we need to convert this knowledge into valuable contribution.
All right.
Because we are paid according to our contribution, not according to our papers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Abraham, Joshua, the caller from Kirinyaga, he just said that it's either you become an evangelist, politician, or a conman. Basically, what I get from him is because we've seen from all those three spheres he has talked about, kuna some kind of, cutting corners, corruption, and so on and so forth. Does that mean that in this country, to survive, to make an honest living, for you to have that nice car, not necessarily that, big limousine, but just to even have just that nice car, you need to cut corners for you to make that money?
Nice transport.
For me, okay, I'm in the minority that is optimistic.
Okay.
And I, like the statistic, I hear a lot about the statistic about the SMEs that fail. But if you dig that statistic further, if you were to find out how many of those people ventured into something they had not done before, it's as high as that 90. So what do you expect? If today I wanted to work, if today I got a brainwave to start a space station, I will fail. For sure I will fail. So some of this failure sometimes is self-inflicted. And I'm saying this with a lot of respect. I think get into something you understand. And you see, entrepreneurship does not grow on you. Entrepreneurship is a skill that has to be learned. So you either have to go through lessons or you have to go through a mentorship program. But you cannot stop working today and tomorrow you start doing something that is different. And you are cultured to a salary every year. But come back to what this guy is saying. I think that shows you, that is I get a sense of people giving up. People giving up and saying evangelists and conmen are the ones making money. But in this same economy, as big supermarkets are closing down, the others are coming up and making money.
Yes.
So the question is sometimes, is the corporate maybe too big? Maybe do we need to scale down and start something, maybe start mini markets? So those are the questions sometimes we need to ask. And as she's rightly saying, and he also said the same, the environment is changing drastically. Some of the skills we have today will not be relevant even next year. There's some skills you have today where next, like now, I was just reading yesterday that in developed countries now, people are relying more and more on AI for legal services and medical services.
Right.
It's already a trend because it's saying it can diagnose your cancer much faster
Than a doctor.
than a doctor. You see, so those are things that are coming at us. And here I am telling my son, you become a medical doctor and do 7, 8 years. By the time he's finished, there's a computer that can do his job 5 times better than him.
Faster.
So I've messed him up.
Yeah.
So, and that's the same thing when I think about when my father was advising me about career, and I think it's the only time I ever crossed hairs with my father.
Okay.
He told me the best job to be is a teacher. Why did he say that? He meant well. He's my father. God rest his soul in peace. But he was saying that from a perspective of what he had seen in his growing life, the teachers did very well during his life. What he did not know is that ground had shifted.
Yeah.
Teachers were already not getting jobs. But he was still, through his nostalgia, he was now advising his son the best way he could. Now here I am again now. My son is at the university today. I'm there busy trying to give him advice. But I need to be very careful.
Yeah.
That I also don't go the nostalgia way and give him advice which is about to expire or has already expired.
Okay.
Because the market is changing so fast. We need to sit and think. These skills that these people need. Because these banks, as they are laying off, they're hiring. Take that to the bank.
So they are getting rid of.
So they're getting rid of another skill set and bringing in another skill. Yes, because as the business changes, don't forget, you're not employed because your employer feels mercy for you and wants to pay your salary. No, it's about how much you can contribute to. So if you're not contributing, off you go. It's business, nothing personal. So I think even as we say, even as we have these grim statistics, I think it's important to drill them down and know what drives them, so that we can start reversing them.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I want us to take a short break, but when we return, the things that I will want us to focus on will include the fact that Now that you're telling guys not to start a business, what do you want them to do? And yet, someone was just laid off yesterday, someone will be laid off tomorrow. What are they going to do? Meanwhile, the numbers remain on your screen. Kindly let us know what business trends you want to, or rather you see relevant in 2020 as far as you're concerned. What was in 2019, wachana na hiyo imeshapita. Let's focus on 2020. We take a short break. We'll be right back.